The Business Review brings you top financial news, developments, influencing currencies, commodities, global commerce, tourism, and other economic events from around the globe.
The S&P 500 and Nasdaq scaled new highs on January the 8th as hopes of more stimulus from Washington were shaken by a senator's comments, but later bolstered after U.S. President-elect Joe Biden said his economic package will bring in trillions of dollars. The latest rally in equities overcame labor market data early in the day that showed the U.S. economy shed jobs for the first time in 8 months in December. But late in the session, the S&P retreated slightly from its most recent peak following a report that Democrat U.S. Senator Joe Manchin opposed bigger direct checks before addressing the coronavirus pandemic. The remarks threw cold water on investor hopes for further stimulus payments. Biden said his administration's economic package will include unemployment insurance and rent forbearance. Positive COVID-19 vaccine data and expectations of a bigger fiscal package and infrastructure spending under a Democratic-led U.S. Congress have pushed the S&P above 3,800 points for the first time and set all three major indexes on track for weekly gains. Unofficially, the Dow rose 56.84 points to 31,097, and the S&P gained 20 points to 3,824, and the Nasdaq Composite added 134 points to 13,201.
According to the latest forecast report by the Forecasting Research Center of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, China's economy will pick up rapidly in 2021, with the annual GDP growth being expected to be about 8.5%. The report predicted that consumption, investment, and next exports will add 4.9, 3.3 and 0.3 percentage points to GDP growth, respectively. Wang Xiaoyang, director of the Forecasting Research Center, said that in 2021, China's economic growth will show a trend of high before low, with 16.3%, 7.3%, 6.3% and 5.9% in the 4 quarters, respectively. Finally, consumption will show recovery growth with a nominal growth rate between 10.7% and 11.7%, becoming the main driving force of economic growth. He added that according to the forecast result of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, the growth rate of investments this year will be relatively high. The investment in infrastructure will have a relatively fast growth, and the development of new industries and new models will make the investment structure further optimized. The center also released annual forecasts for China's imports and exports, domestic and international commodity prices, and grain output in 2021.
A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, or at least it looks like that for customers of a bakery in the western German town of Dortmund, where staff are celebrating the arrival of the COVID-19 vaccine with syringe-shaped cakes. This is not the first time Schumer's Baking Paradise has had coronavirus spin-offs for sale. Last year's panic buying led to household essentials vanishing from supermarket shelves. They sold cakes shaped like toilet rolls. But even the owner, Tim Corton, worried that baking up a tasty syringe would be a step too far. With the vaccination now underway in most of the world, public health officials worry supply bottlenecks and public nervousness about new medicines will slow the uptake of vaccines that they hope will put a stop to a pandemic that has claimed millions of lives. There is no evidence that this cake, a marble cake with white fondant icing, will do anything to protect buyers from coronavirus. Indeed, given the correlation between overweight and serious cases of the disease, it may do just the opposite. But nobody buys cakes for health reasons, right?
Portugal's finance minister Joao Leo said that flexible EU fiscal rules meant to help member states weather the pandemic and return to growth should stay in place until 2022, adding that a smooth implementation of the EU's recovery fund was essential. The European Commission, which is in charge of enforcing EU fiscal rules, last year suspended requirements to keep government deficits below 3% of GDP and to cut public debt below 60% of GDP as the coronavirus pandemic hit the economy hard. Joao Leo said that exceptional rules should not be removed too soon, noting that officials have to make sure the fiscal policy in 2021 remains supportive of growth, and for that, they need not to withdraw the exceptional rules they created for this year too early. The EU should make sure that for this year and next year, we have flexibility to help support economic growth, he said, adding, we need room to have strong temporary measures to support the economy. Portugal took over the EU's 6-month rotating presidency at the start of January, and Leo said the main priority of the Portuguese presidency is to achieve a fast and strong economic recovery that's absolutely key for Europe. For that, he said the €750 billion recovery fund agreed last month was essential. Leo said that amid the challenges triggered by a fresh wave of COVID-19 infections, it was key that the ECB provides stability and makes sure that the monetary conditions are spread to all countries so that all countries could benefit from good monetary conditions that will support growth. He hoped for some progress in the first half of the year on plans for a European deposit insurance scheme, the missing piece of the European Union's plan for a banking union.
Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said on January the 8th that Tehran was in no rush for the United States to rejoin a 2015 nuclear deal and demanded sanctions on the Islamic Republic be lifted immediately. Khamenei's comments came as Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards unveiled an underground missile base at an undisclosed Gulf location. That's according to Iranian state media. Last year, Guards said Iran had built underground missile cities along the Gulf coastline, warning of a nightmare for Iran's enemies. Tensions have grown between Tehran and Washington since 2018, when the U.S. President Donald Trump exited the deal between Iran and 6 world powers, which sought to limit Tehran's nuclear program and prevent it from developing atomic weapons. Tehran says it can quickly reverse its breaches if U.S. sanctions are removed. The U.S. President-elect Joe Biden, who takes office on January the 20th, has said the United States will rejoin the deal if Iran resumes strict compliance with the pact. Khamenei also said he's banned Iran's government from importing COVID-19 vaccines from the United States and Britain. Iran, the country that has been worst hit by the coronavirus in the Middle East, launched human trials of its first domestic COVID-19 vaccine candidate late last month, saying it could help Iran defeat the pandemic. However, Khamenei praised Iran's efforts to develop domestic vaccines, but said Iran could obtain vaccines from other reliable places. He gave no details.
This brings us to the end of this episode of Business Review. We hope to see you again tomorrow with news of stock markets, economic conferences, commodities, currencies, regional and international financial matters, and more.